Have you ever stopped to wonder, maybe those quiet beliefs you have, the stories you tell yourself day in, day out, what if they're actually like doing more than just reflecting things? What if they're actively shaping your reality? Today, we're doing a really fascinating deep dive into exactly that idea. The concept often called the law of attraction. And to help us explore it, we've got these two really vivid short stories. They're not just, simple tales. They feel more like powerful illustrations of how our inner world might actually draw experiences to us, for better, or sometimes for worse. So our mission here is to get beyond just telling the stories. We want to unpack the core insights. What do they suggest about how our thoughts and reality connect? And then the big one, what could this maybe mean for you? Okay, let's dive in. First up is The Window and the Stars. This one really shines a light on the positive side, how this idea can work in a really uplifting way. It introduces us to Lena. Now, Lena, she lives in a small town, has a little flower shop, nothing fancy, but she's got this huge dream inside her. She imagines her art, her flowers being seen globally, people traveling from all over just to see what she creates. So, how did she even begin to approach that? Seems like a massive leap.
Well, that's what's so interesting about Lena. She didn't have the money, right? Or any big connections. Her main resource, it seems, was this really deep belief in beauty itself. The story mentioned she had this daily practice, writing affirmations in her journal. Things like, I am living my purpose.
Okay.
And I create beauty that moves people. And also this really intriguing one, the world is opening doors I can't see yet. But it wasn't just thinking happy thoughts, Her actions were totally in line with this. She poured love into her work, painted her shop bright colors, wrapped bouquets with little bits of poetry. She really imagined she was connecting with every single person who came in.
So she wasn't just wishing. She was like living the essence of her dream already in her small shop. That feels different, significant.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then?
When she reached that kind of alignment, as the story puts it. It's exactly alignment. And the story suggests the universe, or maybe just circumstance, responded to that energy. One day, this travel blogger gets totally lost, stumbles into her shop purely by chance, or maybe not chance. Anyway, they take a photo, share Lena's story online, and boom, almost overnight, messages flood in.
Wow.
Magazines want to feature her. Tourists actually start changing their travel plans to find this poet florist, and then the big invitations start coming. Paris, Tokyo, Sao Paulo. They all want her to create these large floral installations, major global cities.
That's actually incredible. So her belief plus her consistent action, it acted almost like a magnet. What did Lena herself make of all this? What was her takeaway?
Yeah, a year later, she's reflecting on it all, from this tiny shop to a gallery in Florence, and she says something really profound. What you speak to the universe in whispers, it hears. But it only answers when your heart speaks louder than your fear. It really suggests her success wasn't just luck, but somehow a direct result of that internal alignment, like a resonance between inside and outside. It implies that embodying the desire is key.
Okay, that's a really inspiring way to look at how our inner state might shape success.
Yeah.
But if thoughts can draw good things, does that mean they can also attract the opposite? What happens when that inner voice is mostly negative? That's where the second story comes in, the echo room. It paints a much darker picture, doesn't it? The potential downside. Tell us about Elias.
Right. Elias is the flip side. He lives in this big, modern city, glass towers everywhere, but to him, the world just feels rigged against him, inherently unfair. His internal mantras, if you can call it that, were the complete opposite of Lena's. Every morning, his first thought was basically, something will go wrong today. It always does.
Oof.
He was convinced people were fake, just putting on show. Promotions, pure luck. Happiness, just pretending.
So it wasn't just occasional pessimism. It was his core belief system. How did that actually manifest in his day-to-day life? At work, for example?
Well, it became this classic self-fulfilling prophecy. At his job, he always felt like an outsider. And the story points out that people did try to include him sometimes, but his whole vibe-guarded tone, maybe distant glances, it just pushed people away, made him seem unapproachable.
So they back off.
Exactly. Which, of course, just confirmed his own beliefs. See? Told you, I don't belong here. He was constantly looking for proof that fit his narrative and finding it.
That sounds like confirmation bias in action, doesn't it? Filtering everything through that negative lens.
Yeah.
Did this go beyond just his office interaction?
Oh, definitely. It permeated everything. His expectations just kept creating his reality.
Wow.
When he applied for new jobs, he'd basically expect rejection before he even clicked send.
Wow.
And then when he didn't hear back, which, can happen for lots of reasons, it just hammered home his belief. See, nothing ever works out for me.
It shows the danger, right? expecting the worst closes you off.
Yeah, it really does. And were there, like, bigger consequences for him beyond just the job stuff? Yes, the story paints a pretty bleak picture. His social life basically dried up. His health started to suffer. Even his dreams, it says, became gray and mechanical, just losing hope. And there's this really telling moment. A former colleague reaches out, offers him a spot on a new creative project. Something exciting, maybe a real chance.
Well, that's the kind of opportunity Lena attracted.
Exactly, but Elias just shuts it down. Says, nah, it's not for me. These things never work out anyway. He literally turned his back on a potential positive shift because he was so convinced it would fail.
Wow.
And the story makes this critical point. Elias called his outlook realism. He thought he was just seeing things clearly, but unknowingly, he was feeding the very reality he hated. The universe, or his world, was just listening and echoing back what he was constantly putting out there.
Wow. Okay. So Lena creating this positive alignment and Elias trapped in a negative echo. When you put these two stories side by side, what's the main takeaway here about this law of attraction idea? It seems more complex than just think positive.
It really is a stark contrast, isn't it? Lena's story isn't just about wishful thinking. It's about actively embodying her dream state beliefs, actions, feelings all lined up, creating this internal resonance that seemed to attract opportunities. Elias, though, he shows how a persistent negative internal story can act like, well, like a shield, blocking or repelling good things, making him blind to possibilities. It suggests our beliefs don't just mirror reality, they actively shape how we perceive and interact with it.
So it's maybe less about some cosmic force instantly granting wishes and more like a feedback loop. Our inner world influences our outer experience, and then that experience reinforces our inner beliefs. What about this idea of the universe hearing us? How should we interpret that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the universe hearing can be seen less as, a literal conscious entity listening in and more as a metaphor for how our focused internal state, whether it's optimism and openness like Lena, or cynicism and expecting failure like Elias, changes us. It changes our awareness, our actions, even the subtle signals we send out. Lena's alignment likely made her more receptive, more open, maybe even more charismatic. Elias's echo made him closed off, less approachable, more likely to miss chances right under his nose. It's about the energy we project, the resonance.
Okay, that makes sense. Which brings it right back to the listener. So what could all this mean for you? These stories, they're really like an invitation, aren't they? To pause and really listen to your own inner chatter. What kind of whispers are you putting out there through your beliefs, your actions, even just your everyday self-talk? And those little mantras you might repeat without even realizing, are they creating alignment or an echo? It's definitely something to think about. Your own role in maybe shaping the opportunities you notice or perhaps the challenges you keep running into.
Absolutely. The really powerful takeaway from both stories is this idea that our internal world, our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, isn't passive. It might be actively contributing to the experiences we encounter, whether it's through that positive alignment, that proactive, embodied resonance Lena found, or through the negative echo trap that Elias fell into, with its confirmation bias and self-fulfilling prophecies. These narratives strongly suggest there's a deep, active link between what's going on inside us and what happens around us.
So as you go about your day, here's maybe one last thought to chew on, inspired by Lena and Elias. What if the reality that you see around you isn't just something that happens to you? What if, in some subtle but profound way, it's actually reflecting what you truly deep down believe about it?